Good evening. Ideas are like viruses. They spread from host to host. The ideas from 1775 to 1825 that were floating around the Atlantic during this time were, as Robert Strayer's from Words of the Worlds of the Atlantic Revolutions, new ideas of liberty, equality, freedom trade, religious tolerance, republicanism, and human rationalism were in the air. People around the Atlantic took these ideas and used them as their examples to fight for independence. They fought for independence via revolution. The first of these revolutions was the American Revolution. The British Kingdom had 13 colonies in North America. They had just finished fighting an expensive war with the French, and they needed to repay their war debts. So they imposed new taxes upon their colonies. The colonialists, of course, angered by this because of the lack of representation, decided to revolt. This came to a head in 1775 with the first battle of their revolution. In 1776, they declared independence from the British monarchy and fought multiple battles over many years, resulting in 1781, the final defeat of the British. In 1783, they signed for peace and were recognized as a sovereign nation. Thus, the United States was born. Robert Hayland's American Revolutionary War stated it was the first successful colonial uprising in the Western Hemisphere, and it resulted in the establishment of a republic based on liberalist principles. This was due to the hard work of the Americans and their foreign allies. These foreign allies then returned home, specifically those from France, filled with ideas for a republic in a way that they wanted to do the same at their homeland. France at this time was governed by an absolute monarchy, and by 1788, he had bankrupted his kingdom. By French law, he had to gather representatives from his peoples to help him form a way out of this financial crisis. And according to Emma Moreau's on the French Revolution, this was the first time it happened in 175 years. This new representative body tried to work with the monarchy, but quickly realized that he was not willing to give on any principles. Filled with the ideas of a republic and examples from the American Revolution, they decided to form their own government. They formed the First Republic of France and established a National Assembly. They tried to figure out a way to govern themselves and create laws, but Ration gave way to radicalism, and by 1793, they killed the king and his wife. Internal conflict and struggle with the other European nations came to a head, and in 1799, this first republic was hijacked by a self-proclaimed emperor. He engulfed Europe in war and was finally defeated in 1815. After that, the French monarchy was restored. But these ideas of republicanism and liberty had spread across Europe and back across the Atlantic to an island colony called Saint-Domingue. This was a French colony and one of the most profitable because of its exportation of sugar and coffee. It was able to produce these things due to slave labor. And according to Funk and Wagner's Encyclopedia on the Haitian Revolution, by the late 1780s, Saint-Domingue had a slave population 8 times its free population. Hearing of the American Revolution and inspired by the French Revolution, these slaves revolted. They rose up and quickly took control of the colony. They declared themselves self-governed, but they wanted to work with the newly found French Republic. However, this was not to be. The newly proclaimed French emperor decided to send a force in 1802 to reconquer the colony and to reinstate slavery. But these newly freed people were not going to accept this. They fought back, and in 1804, they defeated the French army and declared independence. They renamed their colony Haiti. Haiti since then has seen dictators, civil wars, revolt, a famine, disease, and have been devastated by earthquakes. But they're free. In 1816, a group of exiles from their failed revolution in South America washed upon their shores. These exiles were in need of equipment, which the Haitian government gave to them in the form of men and weapons, and sent them back on their way, back to reclaim their independence in South America. During this time, the kingdoms of Spain and Portugal controlled a vast area from North America to South America. They divided this large, vast area into 5 regions: the viceroyalties of New Spain, New Granada, and New Brazil, and the Rio de la Plata. They had heard of these revolutions in North America, and that in France, as well as in Saint-Domingue. Inspired by this, they decided to rise up and to claim self-governance. By 1808, the wars of these revolutions started. They fought for 17 years, seeing defeat and exile. But by 1825, they actually claimed their independence. But independence, like Haiti, did not mean peace and prosperity. They found out that it was much harder to self-govern than to be governed. Quoting from an author, Esteban Echevarria, he stated, "We are independent, but we are not free." The Atlantic revolutions had seen these ideas spread all around, and groups of people rise up to take control of their lives. This is a critical time in history, and I've only given a shallow overview of it, but I hope to have furthered your knowledge. Thank you.